Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. The DCI have successfully thwarted serious rigging schemes in this country. As a matter of fact, this election was going to be rigged. By the time of doing this video, the DCI officers have actually raided an office based at Transnational Building in Nairobi, and more details are coming. And tomorrow, I'll do a critical analysis, an explosive analysis about the statement which the DCI posted earlier today on their Twitter, in which they exposed the IEBC. And indeed, IEBC as currently constituted cannot preside over a free, fair and credible elections in this country. In this video, I want us to focus on how IEBC, together with the three foreigners, had plotted to rig 1.2 million votes in favor of the Deputy President William Samoei Arap Ruto. They had intended to create a gap, constant gap of 1.2 million votes. Before we get into all those details, in case you are watching this channel for the first time, I want you to take a second or two, click that subscribe button, so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support, because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. And I have one request today. Please give this particular video thumbs up. Now, before we go further, if you followed William Ruto's speeches today, he's very bitter, specifically with the DCI. And the question is, why do you think William Ruto is very bitter with the DCI? And he's so bitter to an extent that the letter which the DCI wrote to IBC is assuming it was written to him, and Kenyans are now mocking him that he's now coming out as the owner of Wafula Chebukati. Listen to the DP before we proceed.
Tunataka tumwambie ule mtu wa sinema mingi anaitwa nani ule mtu? Ule sijui anaitwa DCI, ule anaitwa nini? Ule mtu anaitwa Kinoti. Awache ujinga. Huyo bwana Kiboti awache ujinga. Sijui kama tunaelewana. Huyo Kinoti hakuna kitu amefanya kwa hii Kenya ya kisiasa. Yeye ni mtu ya sinema. Anaendesha makesi kwa magazeti. Anatuandikia barua, sijui barua ya kilomita ngapi. Mr. Kinoti, please save your time. Stop writing to us long letters. Leave matters of elections to IEBC. You have no business in IEBC. You have failed as DCI. We don't want you to fail our elections.
Now, if you go through that statement by the DCI, which I'm going to analyze tomorrow, there are two names there. There is the name of Abdullahi Abdi Mohammed, who invited these guys. So the question is, who is this guy? And then there is the second guy, who is called Paul Wachanga Mugo. For those who followed the 2017 presidential nullification, the name of this gentleman came up severally. But I don't want us to get into these details for now. Let us spare them for tomorrow. For now, let us just focus on how the IBC intended to add 1.2 million votes in favor of the DP. Elections in this country is one of the most direct elections in the world. And personally, I don't understand why IBC is making it to be one of the most expensive elections in this country. If you followed the statement by the DCI, there are 10 counties where the stickers which were found with these three guys were found. Those 10 counties are where the rigging was supposed to take place. There was Nairobi. In Nairobi, there were 3 rolls. There was Nakuru. In Nakuru, there were 2 rolls. There was Bomet. In Bomet, there was 1 roll. There was Meru, 2 rolls. There was Kiambu, 2 rolls. There was Muranga, 1 roll. There was Kericho, 1 roll. Tharaka Nithi, 1 roll. Machakos County, 1 roll. And then there was a blank, a plain roll, which was meant for emergency in case things were not going to go in their favor. they were going to use this. Now, I want you guys to go back to IBC. I'm not going to do this. Look at the presiding officers. Look at their tribes who are supposed to man elections in these counties. That's the only task I want to give you. Because remember, IBC appointed 19 out of 21, out of 42 presiding officers. 19 of them are coming from a region. I want to challenge you to check and confirm the presiding officers in these particular counties. Then get back to me. And why is these counties significant? If you look at Nairobi, it's 50-50, but there's a serious population of the Kikuyus. Those Kikuyu population will determine the outcome of the election. There is Nakuru County, significant population, and also one of William Ruto's block. If Raila would block Ruto in Kiambu, Kiambu is also here, lock him out in Nairobi, and Nakuru get significant votes there. The truth is, William Ruto's bid for the presidency would have been thwarted. And then there is Machakos with one role. Now let us look at the numbers. According to IEBC, we are going to have 52,000 some hundreds polling stations. In the last election, we had 42,000. IEBC decided to add 10 additional polling stations. Each polling station is supposed to have KMS kit. So these 10,000 polling stations which IEBC added are where the rigging are supposed to take place.
Wamechagua polling stations kama 10,000 pale ambapo wataweza kuingiza hizo kura 200 ili ingie pale ndio wapate kura milioni 2 ya ile ya ziada ya uongo.
And the rigging scheme is very simple. Before I give you how they intend to rig this election, it's important also to look at the numbers. Nairobi County has almost 2.5 million. Raila Odinga has always won in Nairobi. Nakuru County has 1.05 million. Raila Odinga never performed well there, but Nakuru County is one of the counties where Rigathi Gachagua is performing poorly. So Raila Odinga is projected to perform better in Nakuru compared to the last election. Then there is Meru, which has 780,000. Raila Odinga is projected to perform well in Meru. There is Bomet with 370,000. Then there is Muranga where Raila Odinga and Mwangi Waria were yesterday. Then there is Kericho. Then there is Tharaka Nithi. Then there is Nyandarua. You know William Ruto is facing a serious challenge in Nyandarua. And then there is Machakos County with 690,000. Now, those numbers are tyranny of numbers. So which means if anybody can win in those numbers, then they'll be able to succeed. So William Ruto has figured out that the difference, William Ruto and his team, they have figured out that the difference in this election, and for one to succeed, they needed at least 1.2 million additional. Whether Raila Odinga is going to win the votes, actual votes, or Ruto, but they still needed some additional 1.2 million. So the 10,000 polling stations is where the scheme is being hatched. And how is the scheme being hatched? 1 out of 5 polling officers in this country are coming from a particular tribe. 1 out of 5. So if you count 5 officers of IBC, 1 of them is from a particular tribe. So the kits are going to be spread to specific individuals, 10,000 of them. Because we have 10,000. So these roles here were supposed to be specifically for those specific individuals. So they were going to be given to those individuals. And the scheme is simple. You go to Nairobi, for example, just ensure that the 10,000 kits across the country, you only add 120 votes. So if you look at these counties, assuming William Ruto were to add 120,000 votes, would anybody suspect? Let's say in a place the vote is conducted and concluded, then the presiding officer or at any polling stations, at those polling stations, 120 votes are added. If not added, then they are spread. Ruto is given, for example, 60, then you deflate Raila Odinga by 60. So you still maintain that figure of 120. So that at the end of the day, there is going to be a total of 1.2 million votes. And this is where the problem is. And the government has thwarted these schemes. There are several questions which are being asked about these officers who came into the country. One of them which the DCI is asking, what was their role? Okay, they came. Why were they invited? Not by IEBC, but by a gentleman called Abdullahi Abdi Mohammed, who is the MD or the CEO of a company called Seamless Limited. Since we began following up this election, have you heard of that name, Seamless Limited, as a partner in IBC? According to the letter which invited these guys, if you read that letter, let me just get the letter from IBC. If you read that letter, the guy is let me get the letter from the DCI. If you read the letter, you will agree that IBC is in total mess. The DCI actually posted that one of those letters as an invitation letter as annexes because they felt that IBC was then now playing with them. Now, according to the letter which invited these guys, it says, officer in charge of the visa section, Embassy of the Republic of Kenya, it says, I, Abdullahi Mohammed of ID number, CEO of Seamless Limited, local service partner of Smartmatic International Holding, VB in Kenya, would like to invite the following persons to my office in Nairobi from 6th July to a day after the elections, that is actually up to the day of the elections, up to 8th of September for work-related activities. Why 8th of September? That's the question. Why 8th of September? Because elections are on 9th. So it means these guys will already, by the time we are going for the elections, they'll be taking their flights immediately at night before the results are announced, and after they shall have messed the system. So they say the name is Joel Gustavo, a Venezuelan of ID number, and the expiry date is February 2023. And the person shall be in Nairobi to implement a project for the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission critical to the August 2022 election. He shall be arriving in Kenya during the project implementation period, and as such shall require a 6-month single entry business permit. He will be in possession of a return air ticket. Seamless Limited hereby guarantee all travel and other support expenses. Thank you for your support and considerations. Yours faithfully, Abdullahi Mohammed. The truth of the matter is that schemes were hatched to rig these elections. Those schemes have now been thwarted. The DCI are now on top of things. If you followed this DCI statements, they were challenging IBC because according to the statement which IBC issued yesterday, it's like the fact that the IBC were holding onto a single laptop. They were holding onto a single phone, and because they were also holding onto some flash disk, that because they were holding onto those, that the elections will now not happen. You know, you look at IBC and you wonder, and since they issued that statement, the IBC, who are very fast and quick in responding, are yet to respond to the DCI. So let us wait as things unfold, but tomorrow I promise you to do a comprehensive analysis about that statement by the DCI. That statement is 11 pages, very comprehensive, because yesterday the DCI actually promised IBC that because they are now playing politics, they are going to respond comprehensively with the facts and figures. And you can clearly tell from the body language of the DP, his statement, his team, how they are now surprised. But let us wait and see. But the question is, will IEBC, under this circumstance, deliver to Kenya a free, fair, credible, and verifiable elections? For me, I don't think they will be able to do that. Thank you guys. Until next time, this is Lee Makwiny.